Exactly. So in the old, I'm quite old. So
Old
in the old days, you could go in as a black box and just try out everything. So that instinct gets lost a bit, I think. It's because you are in a solved mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because before the feature gets built, you're basically introduced into the specifications that you want to build. That's why devs cannot test, right?
Yeah, because you always test around your own issues. I mean, knowingly or unknowingly, but still you do, right? You know that you've built it a certain way, so you test it with that in mind, even though it's not maybe explicitly a choice to do so.
Like even without testing, like letting a demo be done by someone else will completely find all kinds of bugs instantly that you didn't see. Hey there, welcome to Betatalks, the podcast.
I'm Rick.
And I am Oscar. And today we are joined by Bram Albers. Bram is a principal quality assurance at Betabit. He's in the QA field for many years as a technical tester and a quality annoyer. He's a lifelong learner, a nerd, a wargamer, a cat lover, metalhead and a runner. Welcome, Bram.
Welcome. First time for us to have somebody actually in the room with us. We had that once before. I think Gerbe, our very first recording, was also in person.
But in this studio, I think
first time.
It's new. So you found our secret lair.
Ooh, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you. So you're a principal quality assurance at Betabit. Could you maybe explain a little bit what that means and what it is that you do from a day-to-day perspective?
Well, next to that, I'm a consultant as well. And I try to be test-focused, quality-focused. And that's not necessarily the same thing. It's a bit different because testing is a task. And I try to bring the message across that testing is really important and try to teach everybody that we should collaborate. Well, that's a given. Everybody does that. But from a testing perspective, to be on top of mind for people.
So I think this is a topic that we've discussed quite a few times before on the podcast, but like 15, 20 years ago, testing or as we call it, quality assurance was more of an afterthought, right? So first they
like security.
First they spec'd, then they build, and then, oh crap, you need to do something with test and security. There's been a tremendous change in that.
Yeah. There has been, yeah.
What's your vision on how we currently do it, and maybe should we even improve further towards the future?
We've gone a long way, both technically and organizationally, because just like security, it's more in focus these days. So let's think about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and what the quality is about what we're going to build, instead of what you said, bolted on as an afterthought. That was just the way we did things. So popularly, it's the shift left movement of everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Think before you do, act before you do, and focus more on technical abilities. We can do TDD, for example. That's a thing that developed in the last 15 years, I think. So we used to do everything manually as an afterthought, and now we try to do it before we start doing, and that's a little bit scary as well, because I think we lose the test instinct a bit, because we are moving left. Everything gets risk assessed, and we analyze everything into pieces. Your feeling for what could go wrong tends to disappear a little bit, in my view,
because you get more or less of the blind view on it. You start thinking in solving the case or thinking with the feature instead of against it, right?
Exactly. So in the old, I'm quite old. So in
Old
the old days, you could go in as a black box and just try out everything. So that instinct gets lost a bit, I think. It's because you are in a solved mindset.
Yeah, because before the feature gets built, you're basically introduced into the specifications that you want to build. That's why devs cannot test, right?
Yeah, because you always test around your own issues. I mean, knowingly or unknowingly, but still you do, right? You you know that you've built it a certain way, so you test it with that in mind, even though it's not maybe explicitly a choice to do so.
Like even without testing, like letting a demo be done by someone else will completely find all kinds of bugs instantly that you didn't see. Somehow.
It's the meme that you see online, right? With the developer, and then you have the developer watching the tester. It's not developers with the
don't do that
with all the shapes that they need to put in the box, and then they just have that one hole that everything fits through, and then you see increasingly get that was not how it was intended to. Yeah. But that's how it works. So are you saying by that, because on one hand, there's so much that can be automated now, right? I mean, we've come a long way there as well. We now have, I'm going to say, even better tools like the one we discussed before, Playwright.
Yep.
But are you saying maybe we should also just always include something that, I mean, we used to call it monkey testing. I'm not sure if that's still something that we call it that way.
Testing, monkey testing, just how you want to call it. That's wonderful to do, because it forces you to think outside of the box, and that's a big aspect of quality in my mind. Well, you have your checks and balances up front, are your specifications up to scratch, all that stuff, but getting around the confirmation bias, so to speak, is also a big thing, and we should do that more. I think that's maybe we lost that a little bit along the line because we automate everything.
Yep.
And I love automation. Don't get me wrong. I really love that because it gives us more time to do the other stuff.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? So it's part of your toolbox, but it hasn't replaced all of your tools. It's just now a new tool that you also can use.
Yeah, and I think we as an industry focus too much on the automation part a little bit. And we have to make sure that we don't forget to, speak to each other, try to talk.
So on the topic of automation, I think I heard that now Playwright, they've increased even further in auto-generating tests for you. And now yesterday I saw an announcement that it now has its own, that was GitHub Copilot that now has its own browser. That can use its own browser to also do some testing. I'm not really sure. I read it yesterday.
Did you see the Playwright MCP?
Yeah, I did. I got to play with it a little bit. It sounds scary and very, very useful at the same time.
Yeah. Talking about monkey testing.
But MCP in general is really awesome. I mean, we now have also an MCP server for Microsoft Learn, which means in Visual Studio Code, you can tell Copilot, hey, I want to add a key to Key Vault using Azure CLI, and it'll just talk to the documentation, get the examples, and it will write the code for you. So I think just like you said, it allows us to spend more time on the maybe even more important things, so to speak. But I think if you look at what AI could do a year or 2 years ago and what it can already do now, I think we are running faster than everybody had expected we would. Is the same true in the quality and testing space?
I feel we lag behind a little bit. Well, if you have to put it into two camps, the developer side and testing side, don't go there, but that's a different thing.
We might.
Well, okay. Test seems to lag behind a little bit in everything new, right? Yeah. But we got there in the end. We have wonderful tooling from the Radar team. They introduce a lot of cool features. At the same time, I'm a bit skeptical because this black box gives us a magic solution, and I have to guarantee the quality somehow, and I don't know how. So it helps us generate our code faster, which is nice because then, what you said, I can spend more time on other stuff. Yeah. At the same time, this MCP comes up with a bunch of code, and now I have to go spend time to figure out that code and assess the quality of that code as well. At least when I type something, I get to do quality checks myself or a PR. Of course, I can do a PR with generated code as well, but it's a different beast. It makes us more of a developer than a tester, I guess.
Fair enough.
Sure, you can specialize in that, and we should. So I think AI tooling will help us a lot, but I don't see the added benefit of generating your tests. Well, you can have a list with suggestions, but please use your head as well. be skeptical, because that's the job, right? Be skeptical.
But I think that's true for, I think maybe even all things generated by AI. Always be skeptical, right?
Yeah.
You still need to engage your own brain and see if it's actually valid.
I know, but the pitfall is there, right? It's so easy to believe what that thing is telling you, and it's so easy, and it just does it.
But that's what you see, like reading code, for instance, is such a different thing to do, like than writing code, because writing code, you're designing something, and sometimes you go through the wrong path first time, and you can create all kinds of problems there. But you're thinking about the specs really tightly.
Yeah.
While reading someone's code, especially like reading like I saw a diagram this week with the scroll rate versus lines of code in the PR. It's a nice.
It used to be the number of what the fucks in the during the PR, right? Like, during the review,
reading code, and like it's convincing. You see a lot of code, and it looks tidy, and you're going through. It's like, this is whatever. But are you still reading the specs? Because then you're basically reverse engineering your tests again.
Yeah.
The same goes for generated code. I think that could be the pitfall, that you're missing all kinds of details. And especially for me, day to day, the details are the biggest thing, because it's most of the time a security problem.
The devil is in the details.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it's performance, or it's all kinds of things, making something work. And that's why the demos are so strong. But there's never been a bigger difference between what you can do in a demo or convince someone like this tooling is awesome versus if you use it on a day-to-day basis.
Now start actually implementing.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's easy to do the happy path, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the happy path, we almost always do the happy path correctly.
Yeah.
Because that's a spec, and if we can program the spec, then it's done.
Then you would be really far off if you cannot make that one work.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like there is a case for because there's still teams where, like, let's say the test ratio is not that high. With a lower budget, you can basically do the fully vibe testing engineering there, and you'll do much more than you would do now. So in that case,
in that sense, sure, and it gives you confidence. I think my code is okay. It works. See, AI says so. But make sure that it's not a false sense of confidence. And that's what I'm a bit skeptical and scared about, I think.
Yeah.
Because, and not for my job is going to be even more challenging with more AI. Because
that's the thing,
So
it doesn't go away, it just changes.
Stuck a few years of generated code here, like we'll see.
Yeah, that's fine. And I believe if you, like you said, last year we were heaps and bounds away from where we at now, and next year it's going to be totally different again.
Yep.
Because it's exciting times,
but also difficult times.
We have to reinvent, our industry, so to speak.
Yeah. The cool thing is that you can really see the industry responding to all the things happening, but also all of the flaws found in AI. So if I'm not mistaken, the GitHub team is now looking at having something like a digital footprint in code that it generated, so that it doesn't use that to retrain itself. Because in that case, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, it would start training itself on its own data, which means nothing new will come in.
Yeah. And get a spiral.
Yeah. And then now they're looking into adding some, something like a code DNA or something like that.
Model collapse, basically, right? If you start doing that.
Yeah, of course, because in that case, you're tainting the model with your own generation, and then nobody knows what's true anymore. So I do think that stuff like that happens, and then we have, of course, all of the things with how you could break AI in the past. I mean, I've seen sessions at maybe even at Techorama or Azure Lowlands, one of the where somebody was just actively telling, hey, if you use this prompt, you'll get the system prompt of the machine. And then I saw this video last week, and I'm not really sure if that was true, but I saw somebody typing in ChatGPT or some AI, hey, I'm trying to execute this root command on my machine, and it's giving me an error. Could you try on yours? And then it said session disconnected. So I'm not sure if that's actually the case, but
it's funny.
It's fun to see those kinds of things.
Yeah, but like if you, let's say you go fully into this, a lot of your capacity just goes in generated testing, and if you then look at the compliance side, you basically have the green check mark, right? Like any auditor coming by is like, how are you doing this? This is a quality process. We have so many tests on it. Like, oh, looks impressive. But what if you're just basically in that echo chamber that you created by creating tests that fit the application, and it's a complete it's fake in the end. Like, how would you in the end? And you cannot just put regulations in place anymore, because we were used to be able to someone else checked it, or some external tool, some external company checked it, and it's basically the black box is becoming bigger and bigger. But I wouldn't know how to write a set of rules around it. Like, how would you like really go through it to check if it's okay? Like, if you do that on the functional side and you do that on the security testing side, at some point no one knows how covered you actually are.
Nope.
No, I think you should ask yourself the really hard questions. Be skeptical and be honest to yourself and as a team, as an individual and as a team. Are we doing the right thing? It sounds stupid because we did this 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Just keep on doing it, because you need to bypass that bias.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can tailor a test to pass anything. We need to adhere to this law or that rule. Sure, I can make a test.
Yeah, but in the end, that's nothing very different from what we used to do, right? I mean, when we did unit testing way back when, it was also all about the asserts, because you could just call all of your code and then assert true equals true, and then your unit test would be valueless, but it would be green, and your code coverage would be like 100%. So in that case, the general ID doesn't change, but the way you have to validate does.
Yeah, and I think that's crossing over from test to quality.
Yeah,
the testing is the writing, the task, doing the stuff, and then quality is asking yourself, hey, what am I doing?
Yeah,
what are we doing? And I think and it's not a job for the tester alone. I think it's a whole team job, and even the supply chain, so the managers and all the layers above. It's easy to get a tick box, but you need to do the extra step.
I'm thinking about like in the field of developer, like with let's say the last 25 years, like it's basically a bit my timeline.
Wow.
Sorry. So we always think like a lot of things evolved the way we work. Like we went fully web-based, and we got cloud, and we got all kinds of things, and now we have the AI beast everywhere. But if you look at the quality aspect from fully manual testing, like from a user perspective, doing acceptance tests, doing all that part, to getting into being one of the developers, basically into the agile movement, and like we're part of the team, starting to build with it, into getting automation tools, which crosses completely over in basically your engineering background. You need it suddenly.
Yeah.
And now getting into AI business, that you need to understand what the hell an MCP is, and I think the jumps are way bigger in that scenario. And I think you lost a lot of good testing people, or with good instinct, in that engineering phase, and now you will lose a lot of people that were really good at the engineering and maybe the other stuff into the AI era. So do you have concerns, or like you as a tester is like, well, I can just follow this path, or does it feel challenging?
It's always challenging. The faster things goes, the faster the technology evolves, the faster we need to learn. I guess it's the same for you guys. But I think you're right. We lost along the lines. We lost a lot of good people. Is this a bad thing? I don't really know, because when we transitioned from paper to computers, we lost a lot of people as well. But we gained new ones.
Fair enough.
So I guess we're gonna find people eventually, or.
I almost feel that you need the original test mind again when you start generating code, right? Like you need that original critical thinking. While we had a lot of, and you need them on your team. We had a lot of good engineers, which were basically skilled developers who were just working on the test suite.
But maybe this is an opportunity for the people that left us when the engineering got too difficult, too hard for them.
Start picking
or in
up.
general, or they didn't like it. It's also possible. They can now bring their mindset back and use AI tools to do the automation for them, and be very valuable with their insights.
Yeah, maybe a lot of people actually
So
in the end, we'll have skipped that cycle and go from this side now, like pick it up again. Like I know a few, like I have one employed even that is a very, very good tester. If he picks something up, he will do it manually, but he will find every stinking corner. But he's not an engineer.
Good instinct.
He has super good instinct, and he will get into ridiculous mode sometimes. Yeah. It's fine. But I think him picking up these AI tools, no challenge whatsoever. Like he's a lot further in his career by now. But and we had people that were much more of an engineer, and they would be great in getting all our play right together. But I don't see them now crossing over that fast to the AI because they have the same as a developer a bit. Like I like writing this. This is my skill. I'm good at it. And they never had the pure real test mentality for like they wouldn't found the really weird edge cases. They will go from the base, go make sure all your edges are covered, but not into
ridiculous mode.
Not into ridiculous mode, like which is sometimes really good. Because
I like that mode.
Oh yeah, I do too. So, but does that actually now mean that? I mean, our industry is maturing rapidly, right? I mean, in the last 25 years, I think we've gained for like 100 years of knowledge, or maybe even more. So does that also mean that now, with the continued maturing of our industry, that test is now seeing more and more types of roles added to the industry? Because we need them. We need the critical thinkers. We need the people who will be able to generate, but also the people who will be able to validate what has been generated. I think that's the
if
case,
your code
right?
gets validated and you're mostly checking PRs and functionality yourself as a dev, it's like, didn't you just leap over to QA?
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is a good thing. I like devs to come over to the test side,
to the dark side.
Come over. No, we're one team. We're one team, right?
Yeah.
So no, I think you're right. When Oscar was just asking his question, I thought, well, we get more types of roles. We used to have manual testers and test automation engineers.
Yep.
But now we get a whole set of new ones. Just like, just look at your team. We have a front-end developer, we have a back-end developer, and we have a tester.
And an integration specialist, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't have a front-end tester or a back-end tester or an API tester. It's just your tester. Just look at your task. You're going to make an integration. You're going to make an API. And then there's another task, testing. With maturity and divided responsibilities, we get more different type of roles, and there's a big chunk of that that developers can pick up. I can do code, but I cannot do code as well as you guys can. So by
let's say could. I haven't.
Well, let's assume you still can do some code.
I still do. Yeah.
You can with the right mindset, with the right coaching, you can be just as valuable as a tester as anybody.
Oh, I mean, for sure.
So what we do, for example, we do 2 code reviews on a PR. The first one is the technical one, and the second one is the test one. Do I understand what's going on here? And you can switch those around. So that's
and I mean, there in the end, AI could add another added benefit because it can also review PRs. And I was in a session this Tuesday from a guy who had graduated like only 3 or 4 years ago, and he graduated on data, and he had written, I'm not really sure how much, but I think it was 35 pages of R code for doing all of the data things he wanted to do. And then now we had a session on data and AI, and he thought, let's just take my code and put it in Copilot and ask if I did a good job.
Yeah.
But he really clearly instructed, just give me a yes, no answer. Is this code written well? And the answer, no. But the cool thing is, what I actually wanted to go is, I have some older code that I haven't looked at in quite a while.
Yeah.
And then I try to open that up in Visual Studio Code and just tell GitHub Copilot, hey, look at this code. It's still full framework. It still uses Newton Soft. It has all of the old stuff. Bring it over to the newest version of .NET. Bring it over to the newest version of all the Azure packages. Just optimize it for me. It's ridiculous what it can do.
It did? Wow.
It completely updated to .NET 8. It explained why it took certain choices. So it said, I'm moved over to system.txt.json instead of Newton Soft because that's the way we do it now. And everything was correct. And it was really scary.
But like the migration tools, they just they change a lot.
Yeah.
And I already saw that they were doing that for the .NET Migrate, I think. And I don't know if Angular does it, but like these tedious tasks that are basically straightforward, but really hard to code old school wise, because then you need to start parsing the code and checking out what changed. And there are a few ways to solve it. Like, but with this just happens, and why not? Because you have
and again, you're validating instead of
Well, I ask for PR. I ask Copilot, "Hey, explain this code to me. Explain the structure, because it saves me a lot of time. If I understand if I have to read every pull request and there's 100 files change, well, the dev will go, okay, let's do this, and I will go like, oh man, I need more coffee.
But you also might have another problem if you have a PR that hits 100 files. That
someone renamed them namespace. Really nice. And there's one thing hidden in there, and no one will see it.
One very expensive thing if you don't find it. Oscar.
Yeah.
Do you know what time it is?
Is it time for a totally random question?
It is time for a totally random question.
Wow.
Nice.
I'll do it this time. Bram?
Yep.
If you could only speak in movie quotes for an entire day, what movie would give you the best dialogue arsenal? And of course, why?
It has to be one of the Quentin Tarantino ones, I guess.
Is it because of the F word that's in there quite a lot, or?
Nah. No, I think maybe Pulp Fiction, because it was a staple when I was growing up. So it really made an impression. It's just awesome.
There's so many things in there where you think, what the? What? Why?
Le Big Mac.
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese. They put mayonnaise on their fries.
Yeah.
But I can see that one. Speaking about Tarantino, I saw From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw that, I without giving too many spoilers, but somewhere up to halfway the movie, I thought this is nice. This is a nice type of movie, and then like 180 degrees turn around, and it's
Then it gets weird.
What's happening here? And, but still, it's an awesome movie. So
it's probably Tarantino one.
Yeah, at some point you're like, I don't know if you did that yet, Rick. I don't know how old your kids are, but I have a fan amongst the kids who's just taking them off one by one.
I started with Marvel because that's more the age that works for my kids now. So we're watching all the Marvel movies in chronological order from the topics of the movies.
Yeah, with mine, we were doing that while they were coming out, so they're a bit older.
Yeah.
But indeed, the moment you show the first Tarantino, and like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Not everyone responds to it.
But I do have to say, I watched one Tarantino movie even in the theater. It was. I thought it was such a bad movie. No, it was such a bad movie.
Which one was it?
Hateful Eight.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was just a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
Maybe also because I was a little bit tired, and maybe I closed my eyes for a minute in the movie. But
you missed the key part then.
It's a slow one.
It's a really slow one.
Yeah.
But okay. Anyhow, switching gears a little bit.
Sure.
Before we had the recording, we talked about Debbie O'Brien from the Playwright team. We had on the show as well. What you can really see with her is that she's really invested into the integration testing that Playwright provides.
Yeah.
Because it's so valuable.
It is. Yeah.
And I think some people might even say, why do unit testing if we can do all this integration testing?
Ooh, dangerous territory.
just putting this out there, and I'm really curious to hear your opinion about that one.
So not doing unit testing anymore, that's what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, but that's what I got from people.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see what you think about that one.
It puts pressure on a different spot, I guess, because I understand why you would want to do it, because writing unit tests takes a long time. It should take a long time because you should have many. Integration testing skips that step altogether. But you have to be very careful because you're going to miss stuff. Your integration test suite is going to get bigger. And then you can take it a step further. Why do integration testing if you can do UI testing? Because the Playwright does that stuff, right? So it implies that you test every level underneath. So should you switch over? I'm not terribly convinced yet. Because you have to understand your stack really, really well. It can be done.
Yeah, well, the biggest, why wouldn't you do it, was always the, some things you cannot stage. Well, state and data, it's hard.
Yeah.
And it will take long. The take long part is gone. It's from the table. Like I'm using the Playwright test service right now.
Yeah.
It's like, let me run a test now. 10 seconds later, I just ran 7 hours of test in parallel. It works. Okay, your test environment needs to scale out a bit. But we have the cloud for that. We're good at that.
Yeah.
So for a lot of cases, I think we can move over because I saw a lot of unit tests that were actually integration tests.
Yeah.
Or mocking so much stuff that you're testing nothing at all.
Yeah.
So unit tests should always exist, I think, because even doing TDD, I don't think TDD is testing. I think it's writing specs. Because I think after you wrote your code with TDD, like it keeps it in place, but it's basically just forcing the implementation and not so much really testing.
No.
So it's it's spec based for me.
Yeah.
So you need testing after that. You're not done. So I think that plus like rapid integration test, like single scenarios, simple things. As long as you can find a way to stage the data and like make sure it also can handle the traffic, I think it's much better.
Data was always the hard part, but now we have AI, which is solves a lot of problems. But I guess you were aiming at the test pyramid. I think that thing is dead. Sorry for everybody out there, but because
hot take, we need to have this in the title because this is hot take. The test pyramid is dead, and then see how many people come to listen. Yeah.
No,
we need to do that, right?
Because I don't think it's difficult.
Yeah.
Because I agree, you can skip a lot of unit tests. If I see, you said we need to mock the whole world to get one simple answer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't write a unit test like that because it's ridiculous. Simple stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. That's
but the technology used to dictate what level of test you are. It's like this is a unit test, so it's there in the pyramid. This is but it's like I used Playwright API testing also mixed in. Like it's like, for this session, do some things in the background just to confirm all the edge cases. Yeah. And the front end's gonna not let me do that. So you can do all those things in parallel. So the tool set is now so wide, you can use almost every tool in any level of testing.
Yeah, and then you can do a lot of stuff on the front end as well with BUnit, for example. Just do unit tests on your front end. I don't need to know. I don't need to test validation with the expensive UI test, for example. So it's more like a test cylinder or a three-dimensional chess type of thing. You can pick and choose, and we didn't have the option. We didn't used to have that option.
So in the end, we all are or have been consultants. So in the end, it depends, right? So an integration test tests the integration of several parts, but if you don't hit like the last 20% of that unit that you're doing 80% with all of those integrations from that perspective, then you do the last 20% using a unit test so that you have full coverage throughout, right?
Exactly, or the other way around.
Yeah.
Use a UI test for that matter.
Yeah, fair enough.
And we can solve a lot of things with contract testing, for example. But you can also do contract testing in your own team between your backend and your front end. It just works, and you can do that with Playwright as well. So in that sense, it got a little bit harder, and the discussion isn't that easy. Do you want UI unit tests or not, or less?
Yeah.
It depends.
It depends. Yeah, it's your stack and it's your project and
and also the knowledge, the different knowledge levels of people throughout the team.
Exactly, and the technical choices you make. For example, on this one project, we use Blazor Server, which is nice to have, but it's all encrypted. So I have to use a unit test on the back end and a UI test on the front end. And in between, it's just not an option.
Yeah.
No, that's all the signal states that it's just passing on. Like it's
the WebSocket communication.
You don't get that natural split. But so it depends on the stack you're testing. It depends on indeed how it handles its state. It depends how you can actually run it in a test scenario. Can you do it real time? Do you have the state? Can you fake the state, or do you just roll out 1,000 databases for your test at night? Or
that would be nice.
Some of us do that.
And then you cannot do this as a tester alone anymore. No. You need the whole team just to be able to sit down and what we talked about before, assess your risk, assess what you want to cover, and then come up with the best solution. Like this part, we're going to do with a unit test, and that with an integration test, and then the rest with something else.
But if as a quality engineer, how, you will go to a convention or you go to a talk or I don't know. I think you have the certification runs, I guess.
Yep.
Are people still speaking about the pyramid as is? Because I think the tools are so wide. They're not telling you how to do this, but I think then the base theory now is kind of broken, and we probably need 5 new terms for what is what, because it's not that simple anymore.
No, I think as an industry we're still figuring it out.
Yeah,
because we usually have these old ideas.
We're building the boat while we've already left the harbor.
Yeah, so. But it's like that we're in cloud, we're rebuilding on-prem kind of stuff. It takes a time for everyone to figure out that's actually, don't try to replicate that. It's. The rules are off the table. We need to reinvent this. Yeah.
And that's what I meant with being lagging behind a little bit as an industry, because, on the dev side, you've seen the transition to the cloud, just like you said. And for testing, we're just figuring it out.
Yeah.
What is our role? How can we be valuable? I think that's also the bridge between testing, the activity, and quality as the mindset. So that's why I like the term quality engineer a little bit better than testing.
Yeah.
At the same time, everybody can do quality. Everybody should do quality.
Yeah.
It takes just one, most of the time, a tester to be very loud about it in your teams and in your organization.
Yeah, I think that's the level where you want to have it, right? On the organizational level, that people just don't see it as an afterthought or something you need to. Oh, that's also something we need to do, but that it's an inherent part of your software development lifecycle, because it can also facilitate your developers to work better or faster or more productive.
And your business and everybody else. This touches upon what you asked earlier. Everybody should do quality, and it takes a shift left mindset, or at least awareness, to be able to do that. If I want to change something in my team, and if my manager or the person that manages the team doesn't agree, it's very hard to implement. You can just do it, but in the end, you're gonna hit your head somewhere along the line.
I think it continues to be such a inspiring part of software development, and I think still a underrepresented part. What if you look at the customers that you currently help? Are they already on that mindset of saying we need to, but maybe we just don't know how yet? Or are some also still needing the push to actually go for that quality assurance and then help them take the next step?
Both. A lot of organizations I see are driven by external motivations, like there's a new law we need to adhere to.
Yep.
So let's go do it. And there's also a few, of course, that go okay, we need to mature as an organization and as a team. How are we going to do this? You see both. It's not one silver bullet, but external motivation.
It never is, right?
No, yeah, that's true. But external motivation is definitely a big one. Yeah. Like we had with the GDPR, and now we have with DORA in the financial sector.
Yep.
And then they go we need security now because it's a requirement. And we need testing now because DORA says so. It's
a bit of a pity, right? That's the reason people actually only start implementing.
That's really lagging. That's
people.
That's not shifting left.
No, it isn't. But people listen. They want to, but then in the end, when priorities get on the table, they go okay, no, let's do the business thing first, and then add it. So it's the technical depth discussion all over again, I guess.
Yeah.
When are we going to?
I think you need strong leadership.
Yes.
That understands this. Otherwise, you will never get the room to actually improve.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the difficult part, right?
Yeah.
Where are you going to find? You're a bit in that role. You need a CTO sometimes, and organizations and people sometimes lag behind. They go we needed a CTO 5 years ago because now we have to catch up.
Well, the thing is,
or an advocate for that matter.
Yeah. I actually had a discussion yesterday with somebody who works at a large financial organization here in the Netherlands. And I think they don't know yet that they're actually now an IT company.
Yeah.
Still not.
Still, they don't. But one of their biggest projects, which is going to have millions of policies that run through their doc, they're not even really sure how that is going to play out and how they should manage and how they should. So I think a lot of companies have knowingly or maybe even unknowingly transformed into being IT companies. And now they're being hit with, hey, have you thought about security? Have you thought about quality assurance? Have you thought about your development process? How are you going to manage this? And they're just...
Yeah, you see in the end, like factors like DORA, like those externals are pushing it, because this is one that is very interesting, because it's like a supply chain driven.
Yeah.
So it's like you only need this when you're in financial sector. You need this if your clients are in the financial sector. You need this if your clients are in the financial sector. So and everyone, like, this will waterfall a bit down.
Ooh, that's been a while.
Yeah, guess what? We're all in the financial sector somehow.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Like it is like we're all basically a software company now.
Yeah.
And I see that sometimes, but like talking about you need a leader, but like you shouldn't need one. Like everyone should understand in leadership. And I see even in like a smaller company, you also want multiple people to have the discussion.
Yeah.
To have the discussion, like this over that, and like, okay, but there's no budget if we don't make any money. You do the business thing, so to actually do this right, so we can all stop working, and like this law is coming, so we cannot avoid that. Like, I like to have the discussion. I like to have the fire together with the CISO about some regulation, or like, okay, what first? Okay, this is mandatory. This is very highly recommended. This is so you need that, but also all the other roles should understand that there's something here, and up to a certain level, understand it, and up to a really wide also accept the responsibility there. Like, okay, you guys figure this out because this is specific, and it's part of our business.
Yeah, the decision makers need to be aware, just what, like you said, you're an IT company with a banking license, and the decision maker needs to understand this. Yeah. Because how are you going to make a decision based on something you don't understand? Or you have to
like
trust.
From commercial side or something, we need to make money, A.
Yeah.
B, we need to comply.
Yeah.
We shouldn't fall apart. Like
yeah, and of course, like, especially for some industries, I mean, trust or at least continuity is very important as well. Yeah. And with the incredible, or sometimes maybe even ludicrous speed at which new versions are being released of any and all types of tools, you really need to know what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Because if quality is not up to par and people lose faith, they'll just go to a competitor and they'll be gone, because it's that easy now.
And that's
it's very easy to start a competitor for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you don't have the risk of losing everything because you skipped a few steps in quality, but you can make the market. Yeah. So as a settled brand of something, it's really hard to stay on top and evolve with this, be compliant with everything, not piss off your clients because they were used to something. Like, there's a cycle, and it is it's a hard game, and yeah.
It is, and even the new up-and-comers, you cannot skip steps anymore.
No.
If you skip quality to beat the market, then it's going to bite you in the behind eventually.
Yes.
And 2 years down the line, there you go, and then there's a new one. So it's cutthroat, I think.
And I think that's also what we see out there, right? We see companies that come up, grow tremendously fast, and then after a year or maybe two, you just don't hear anything about them anymore because they crashed and burned because they skipped a few steps.
Yeah.
So I think it's also
some of them skip a few steps and actually get to that point that they can start settling.
Yeah.
But it's
the balance you need to find. It's also the balance you need to find, right? So where do I allow myself to skip a few steps to make that first step into being seen, and then adding all of that into, because I can also imagine that that's a strategy for some companies.
Yeah, it could be even a strategy. Yeah, fail fast. Could be make a lot of money, go away, and then try again.
Or build it up, see that it gets bought, and then jump out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of things go to waste. A lot of effort goes to waste with really good ideas because the cycle is just that fast and there's so much pressure on it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we're seeing great things being invented and
there never has been such a multitude in solutions and in opportunities and in cool things being done. So that's a nice thing as well.
Something to speak about.
It is. Bram, based on what we've discussed, is there anything you'd like to get back to? Is there anything that you would like to add or stuff that you think people listening need to know this before we wrap up?
Stay skeptical. Every time, stay skeptical. If I could give you any advice or new testers that might, or devs that might want to dabble in the testing side of things or the quality side of things, be skeptical, be curious. Just develop that curious mindset, I guess. That instinct needs to come back. And now we have wonderful AI tools to help you with automation, the boring stuff.
Thanks. Thank you so much for being a guest. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for listening to Betatalks, the podcast. Betatalks is made possible by Betabit Managed Software Development.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.